Hello, welcome to another episode. I sounded constipated there, didn't I? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Word Up. Sorry, I think I actually did shit myself.
Oh, shit, yeah, you can smell it, yeah.
Welcome to another, no, it's just my breath. Episode of Word Up. I have my good friend and comedian Rachel here with me. Do you want to introduce yourself, Rachel?
Hello. So I'm Rachel Spence. I don't know.
You had to think a bit.
I had to think about my surname there.
Her name is Rachel Spence.
Rachel
I can
Spence,
verify that.
is.
Yeah,
she's seen my birth
Rachel
certificate.
is up and coming on the comedy scene right now. She's absolutely smashing it. So she is, and I thought I would get her on for a wee yarn. How have you been, Rachel?
I've been good. Yeah.
Have you any gigs coming up?
Yeah, so I'm going to Hot Water and Frog and Bucket on
In Liverpool.
Sunday. Liverpool.
Why did I do a
Manchester.
Scottish accent there?
I don't know.
For Liverpool. In Liverpool. You know the way we all talk like this.
Yeah.
Liverpool. I always think of Jimmy Carr whenever I'm thinking of accents because you know the way he does that shortcut to how to get into the accent.
Yeah.
So Liverpool is, I want some chicken and a can of Coke.
Yeah.
And then whenever he's thinking of like Belfast, he thinks ginger and community. Like that's his two words. It's a really good way.
It works, yeah.
Ginger and community. Yes.
That's
so
the two essentials.
for anybody that hasn't listened before, and for yourself, Rachel, what we do on Word Up is we just generally talk shit.
Awesome.
And also, there is a point to this, there is a structure. We'll have a word of the week.
Okay.
So I will introduce you to, well, you might already know the word, but I will give you a word and we'll talk about it, and we'll probably try and think of examples and stories around
Perfect.
it.
Yeah.
And we also have a dirty word.
Oh, even better.
Yes, it's usually a word that's associated with sex. Normally, it's some sort of paraphilia, but
Okay.
not this week.
Ooh.
Well, it could be considered, but it's considered a sexuality. The dirty word of the week this week. So we shall see about that. I was just commenting on your lovely Star Wars.
My Star Wars tattoos, yeah.
You're a big Star Wars fan.
Absolute Star Wars nerd, yeah.
Who's your
100%.
favourite Star Wars character?
Oh, it has to be Princess Leia.
Really?
Yeah.
Because she's pretty or because she's cool?
Because she's cool. Like,
Cool.
as a kid, like, that was the inspiration. Like, fuck Disney princesses. But,
Yeah,
like,
I want to be Leia.
Princess Leia,
I want to come out
100%.
in a bikini and just wear like my hair in two buns and look like an absolute sex
yeah,
goddess.
100%, yeah.
And then you end up fucking married to somebody that looks like Jabba the Hutt. I'm only joking.
That's my ex-husband, yeah.
Are you married? Were you married?
I'm divorced, yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. I seen you.
Oh,
do
yeah,
a bit of,
about my divorce. I don't really do them anymore. my divorce
Congratulations.
jokes. Thank you. It's been
Yeah.
5 years.
It's been. Are you happier than you've ever been before in your life?
100%. 100%, yeah.
I've heard of people throwing divorce parties.
I had
now.
a divorce party.
Did you?
Yeah.
Out of town was a class.
It was amazing.
Is it a bit like a hen party where you have like dildos everywhere?
Kinda, except for, right, so I had balloons that said, like, I divorced the cunt on them.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. There was a banner, it's like, we never liked you anyway.
I love
I
it.
know, and then my friends made like a pin the tail on the asshole and just put a picture of my ex's face on a donkey.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's the kind of petty I can get behind. Like,
Yeah, it was so good.
you know that kind of just wee spiteful shit?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, fuck you.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
You bloody motherfucking asshole. Yes. But do you want, well, we get, do you know what? I'm thinking that we should go straight in with the word of the week, and
Okay.
that might provoke some stories.
Okay,
Because
awesome.
I found that this word of the week, we should actually know this word a lot.
Okay.
Where we're from.
Oh, right.
Because it's very relevant to what we do as a race. So the word is carouse. Right? And I'll actually give you the definition of carouse, right?
Yeah.
Carouse is to party or to celebrate. The activity of drinking alcohol and enjoying oneself with others in a noisy, lively way.
Yeah,
Right?
sounds about right, yeah.
So I just thought, why don't we use that more often over here? We were carousing all night, swear to God. See, after the concert the other night, we caroused in my house until Monday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can no longer carouse. But I found it interesting the way it said it was drinking alcohol.
Aye.
Like, I imagine I could still carouse, despite the fact that I no longer drink
Yeah,
alcohol.
I don't really drink alcohol much either.
Do you not?
No, I
Are
had
you?
a drink on my birthday and that was it.
Oh, right, so you're not an alcoholic, you just are sensible.
Yeah.
Right,
nowadays,
okay.
Yeah.
And did you ever act out? Have you ever caroused?
Oh, I cried loads, 100%, especially when I was married. Like, I had to keep up, so...
Oh, right. You had to suffer.
keep
you had to do something to entertain yourself.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So you caroused.
Caroused a lot in my 20s.
Yeah, I always think of a good carouse like... my definition of carousal is when you have to put a decorative boron back on the wall the next day. Like, you know the way you go in, nearly every person I know has at least got a boron somewhere in their house. Do you know what I mean?
Hung up on the wall.
Hung up on the wall. It's usually a really nicely painted boron, like decorated, isn't it?
Like, what do you call it?
Claddaghands. Yeah, we Claddaghands or the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I'm only joking. Yeah, I've never seen a Jesus on a boron actually, because I don't think it would feel right baiting the face of him with a wee stick. But there's always something like a nice Celtic coat of arms, and usually whenever you've went to like an old concert or you've been out for the night and everybody goes, "All right, fine gentlemen and women, let's go back for a good carousal at my place of domain." You go in and everybody will be drinking, and then somebody spots the boron on the wall, usually me. I am the moron with the boron, right? And like, you'll take it off the wall and you'll fucking all of a sudden you're a trad musician. Like, there's been many times I've been like, I can fucking do this. You couldn't beat it with a big stick. You could actually, that's what you're doing. Yeah, like, you know, and you sit, and I remember I did this in my friend's house before and took the boron off the wall. And then all of a sudden I started getting really technical about it. I was like, you know, do you know what you're supposed to do to tune a boron? Do you know what you're supposed to, how you tune a boron? How you get the right pitch for it? Usually, right, well, an Irish boron player would probably say you throw Guinness on it, right? But that's usually just what the musician was drinking whenever they were playing the boron. Okay. Because if you get the skin wet, you know, on the boron, it changes the pitch. So it does. So like a lot of people that were playing boron would throw a bit of Guinness or whatever on it and rub it round, you know, and then that means, because obviously whenever you're playing it, you push your fingers into the back of it and stuff to try and get the pitch to change. This has turned into a very technical. So
you've been
boron
going like, I didn't choose the boron. Like,
the boron chose me.
The boron doesn't choose the wizard.
You've been chosen, Bronagh.
Interesting. Sorry, but what's interesting? The very boron that you're playing is the brother of the boron that killed your mother. What's in this stick? Unicorn hair. But leprechaun hair. So anyway, I was at this carousal at my friend's house and I decided to impart this knowledge on everybody. Believe it or not, they didn't leave. They just drank more and started ignoring me. But the thing was that I thought, because I knew this, that would have made me an excellent boron player. And all I did was, like, the cops ended up coming out to the house to tell us to keep it down.
Wasn't a racket.
Yeah, they were like, there's some sort of punishment beating going on in here, you know. But I always talk about, like, I love how whenever the cops come to your... Have you ever had the cops come to your house?
Occasionally, yeah.
Occasionally. I don't want to trigger any trauma or anything.
But
you know, whenever you get the cops coming to the house to tell you to keep it down, they call you madam.
Yeah.
Excuse me, madam. And I'm always like, I'm not running the fucking brothel here, like. Madam, I'm a madam all of a sudden. But yeah, that's a carousal for me. Whenever things get mad and everybody's bouncing about, and it always ends with you damn with a hangover and putting your friends' ornamental, apparently family heirloom that nobody's supposed to touch or cover in Guinness back up on the wall. Do you know what I mean? Or like the old parties whenever you're do you know whenever like you have to help your mate clean up the house or else?
Fuck, after clean up is the worst.
Yeah.
We used to have so many house parties in my old house, and like the next morning I wake up and just like empties or like glasses with like a little bit left in it, and you're like, because you're so hungover, you're like, I'm gonna vom. Like, I can't go.
Do you know the worst hangovers are the ones whenever you actually just lift the tins and go,
big butt.
Yeah, you know, like
someone always turns one into an ashtray.
that's always the way. But have you ever had those carousals where you go out for one night and then you come back about 5 days later? Because I have. It always starts off with the clean up the next day. You're helping your mate clean up, and then you find like an unopened bottle of beer, and you go, I'll just fucking drink this. The next thing you know, you're in another house taking a boron off the wall. I don't know how this happened.
You're just in a tour of the borons.
It's like time travel. It really is like time travel. There's been times where I've been out on a Friday, and then I've woke up the next day and went, fuck, I was mad last night, and it's just somebody standing there looking at me going, I don't know who you are. It's Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? It's like The Hangover, the movie. Every time I drank.
God. Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I don't drink anymore. Yeah.
Same.
So, give me an example of, like, have you got a favourite word?
A favourite word? Not that I can, like, think of. I probably should have thought about this before coming on, saying it's called word
No,
up.
it's dead on. Have you a word that you use all the time, like, even? That you're, like, addicted to at the minute?
I can't even think of words right now. Do you ever get that? Your mind just goes blank and you're like, what?
You just go blank.
Yeah, blankety blank.
Well, the thing was that, like, I am obsessed with sort of new words. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or finding new words.
Yeah,
or finding
definitely.
things. Like, for example, recently, my word in my head has been nebulous.
Okay.
You know, like, and it's usually, it sounds like somebody with a really big nose. Doesn't it? Nebulous. But, like, it's usually used for things that aren't clear. Like, nebulous whenever you think of a cloud.
Yeah.
Like, something that's, like, doesn't have any defined edges. So,
okay.
if you're going, like, I don't know when this party is supposed to begin or end, it's all sort of like a nebulous concept at the minute.
A nebulous carousal.
A nebulous carousal.
That's
Go
it.
you, Rachel.
Thank you.
That's going in the notes. That's a song title there.
100%. That's a show title, Nebulous Carousal.
Nebulous
It will never
carousal.
end.
Yeah. There was this girl actually, and it's terrible. You know, whenever just thinking of the word neb.
Aye.
You know the way over here, like we will use like terrible words. It's great, like neb. I wonder if that's Ulster Scots or something.
I don't know. I have a mate called Neb.
Do you?
Because he's got a big nose.
Get
and
away.
I can't wait to call him Nebulous. That's all I've been thinking about.
I swear Sean and I like operate on the same plane
100%.
because I swear to God, don't we do it all the time? But you can't wait to call him Nebulous. You just go at your Latin name.
I'm going to find an excuse to hang about with him. Nebulous.
Nebulous.
That's your Latin name, yeah.
That's your full title.
Nebulous Maximus.
My name is Nebulous Maximus, father to a big-nosed daughter. Husband to a big-nosed wife. Oh my God. Yeah, Nebulous. I was thinking of the girl that we knew and her surname was Gladwell. This is terrible. Like, I'm not going to give her a real name. Say, called her Zoe. And everybody called her Zoe Nebwell because she had a big, massive nose. Isn't that terrible? Like, the things, we're horrible people. Like, well, maybe it's just me, but you know the way you have, like, nicknames for people?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, there's a guy, well, actually, you can talk shit all you want about him at the minute because he's not in a very good books. He owns a couple of shops and he's done something very illegal.
Oh, shit.
But I hope
You know you're up.
yeah.
The goss.
He sniffs Snickers and stuff,
Oh, great.
apparently.
Okay.
But I always called him Rubber Ring, like referred to him as Rubber Ring, because that's in my head. I always thought he was wearing a rubber ring underneath his t-shirt. You know, like whenever he's walking around.
Oh, like just where
But it
the
was
way his belly
strange.
was.
No, you know the way like you can have a belly, like as we do,
Yeah.
or you can see a man that has like a beer belly.
Yeah.
This wasn't like that. This just genuinely looked like he had a wee rubber ring on underneath his t-shirt. You know, those kind of things, and the way you
Yeah.
have nicknames for teachers and stuff. Like, I loved the ones we had nicknames for teachers and they didn't even realise that it was
Yeah.
a negative thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, they used to laugh and think they were cool, and you're going, No.
No.
That's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me this.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you did your very first stand-up gig, did you have a drink whenever you were doing it?
No, I did it sober.
Did you do it sober?
Yep.
Yeah.
I made a promise to myself. I was like, if I can get up on stage and tell jokes sober, I can fucking do anything.
Yeah.
So I did it sober. My first one though was, the newcomers competition at Pavilion.
Oh yeah.
I won it.
Did you?
Yeah, that was like my first
Awesome.
ever gig, and I was like, yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was like,
won this whole. I basically clocked comedy now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that is it. Have you ever
100%.
drank whenever you've got on stage?
Not before. I would drink after, maybe.
Have you ever had an carousal afterward? Has it ever turned into a carousal?
Do you know what? Not really. Well, no, last year on Pride it kind of did, because I did like a wee best of 3 competition at Black Box.
Yes, that's good. That.
And like we're all drinking afterwards, and then continued it on afterwards as well. But then I was like racked by about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
You were busted.
That's me now. That's me these days. I'm a granny.
Yeah, you get like just
Yeah.
fed up, don't you?
Yeah.
But you know the thing is, like, it's kind of cool because whenever you do comedy, it's a night out for everyone.
It is,
So your
yeah.
job is literally like it is in the entertainment biz. Oh yeah, that's showbiz. But
Make them laugh.
I have a little meme on my thing, and it's
Yeah.
like, or my psychologist, and what do we say when we feel this way? That's showbiz. No. But the thing is, I'm dealing with it at the minute, in a really good way, like you can't complain, is that, like, say I have so many gigs, and then you'll get people like your mates and all will go, or like family members, I'll go to that one, oh, we want to go to this, we haven't seen you yet, whatever, which is brilliant. But then there's like nights where like I'm really, really busy. So say like you have a night where you're doing 2 gigs, and people go, oh, we'll all go out and we'll have a good carousal after.
Yeah.
And you're going, I can't.
Gotta go
You know,
another
and
gig.
also it's different whenever you've only started out and it like is a big event every time you're doing it. But see, whenever you're doing it for a while, it's just it's not that it's just, but it's work.
Yeah. It's
Do you
your
know what I
work
mean?
night, yeah.
So you're you're kind of like, I know that it's a big night out for you guys, and I really want you to enjoy yourself and have a big drink up, but I want to go home after and put my slippers on.
100%.
Kicks you into a new gear of like having to like step up the plate when somebody turns up.
Yeah.
You feel like, oh god,
I've actually have to
face
perform.
things again. I can't be shit here.
Yeah. Or like, say somebody's came to see me once and then I know they're coming to see me again. I go, fuck's sake, now I have to do different material.
Jokes. Yeah. Oh.
You know, anybody else. But then if I get to the stage where I feel like, oh, they might have seen me, because I didn't realise whenever I started doing comedy, I was doing like a new set every single time.
Yeah, fair.
And then it was like Luke that was going, no, you do your best 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
do your absolute, like, whenever I started doing comedy,
Yeah.
I did a different set every time. And then Luke McGibbon had said, you do your best 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then I would do that, and then I would work in new bits, you know, at the
Here and
start.
there and stuff, yeah.
But it's gotten to the stage now where if I feel like somebody might have seen the stuff that I've done, and I can't be arsed doing anything new, I'll just go sing along if you know the lyrics.
No. So my partner Fergie, they come to every show. I've came to every show I've done since we started dating, and they're still the loudest laugh in the room for like
Yeah.
half of my jokes, and I'm like, you've heard these like a million times. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
No, I do. We were talking about this the other
Yeah.
night because I did a live show for, well, not live, it was recorded
Yeah.
for that RB Comedy Club, and we were all sitting there talking about that, and I said, well, funnily enough, that particular set I got up and did the other day, I just winged it, right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking it's going to be online, so I don't really want to use anything that, you know, I don't want to be repeatedly seen. So, but we were talking about that, and I was saying how, like, I actually do love hearing all my mates do their wee bit. Like, Willie has wee bits that he does where I'm like, do that bit, and Paddy does it too.
Yeah.
And, or, you know, you'll be sitting there and I'll go, here, will you do this joke tonight? You know, the one you do about fucking Tinkerbell or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
like, you have your favourites, don't you?
Yeah,
Like, if I go
100%.
to see Peter Kay, I want to hear him say roller cola. You know, like, you want them to
Do the jokes you like.
to do the favourites.
Yeah. The greatest hits, that's it.
The greatest hits. That's it. But it's like being a comedian's the opposite of being in a rock band. Because, like, do you ever see whenever you go to, obviously, I mean, I'm stating the fucking obviously, but do you ever see whenever you go to, it's not rock and roll, do a concert and they start playing their new stuff and you go, fuck off, mate. I don't want to hear your original material. I want to hear this
Freebird.
one. Yeah, play Freebird. It's like the Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
They said the band, you know, who is it that does Motorhead? They said about the Ace of Spades. They were asked, you know, what they felt about that song, and they went, oh man, I fucking hate that song. And the interviewer goes, what? It's your song? And he's like, it's the first song they want to hear. It's the last song they want to hear. I'm fucking sick of doing it, man. You know, whereas comedy's the opposite. It's like, you know, people don't necessarily go to see you you have to have something new every time. Like, it's fucking...
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to, but people expect...
expect
Obviously,
that.
if you're doing different shows...
That's it. If you're doing different shows, it's fine. But if you're in the same place
Yeah.
over and over...
Some
it's
people
the same
don't get
audience,
that,
whatever.
though. That like stand-up comedy. In saying that, though, sometimes I will get up. In fact, most of the times that I get up to do a set, I end up doing something completely different for like the first 5, maybe 10 minutes. Because I'll have heard something or seen something in the audience that's triggered like a memory, and then I'll just go on to tell a story.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realise that, like, there was somebody that was complaining because they booked Jason Manford's show.
Right.
And they booked 2 nights. They bought 2 tickets. And then they wrote to him and complained to him. They were like, you just did the same show on the second night. And he had to, like, put out this thing that was, you know, like this advertisement that was like, please don't come to... thank you for your support. But if you don't want to see the same show twice, don't buy tickets for the second night. Do you know what I mean? But Billy Connolly, the legend himself, did do it. There was a comic who challenged him before.
Oh, right, okay.
Said to him, I bet you couldn't do a different set every night for 2 weeks though. And he was doing like Fringe at the time.
Oh,
and he said it
yeah.
nearly killed him, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He just did a different show. Billy Connolly could easily do it. Fuck's sake, sure, according to him, he does a different show every night. I can't remember it now, can I? Does he, like, does he have dementia? No, he has Parkinson's. I fucking love him, but
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a
honest to
legend.
God, shakes and all. I would take him. I love him. Have you got a favourite comedian?
At the minute, it's kind of Hannah Gadsby.
Oh.
Have you watched her stuff?
Yeah,
Or-
Nanette.
Yeah, Nanette,
And
yeah.
stuff like that, yeah.
I just kind of like her style, which is like just, here's my trauma.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, that
it,
sort of
like,
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
she's kind of conversational, isn't
That's
she?
it. Like a bit of controversial, I think Nanette was as well. Like so many comedians were like, that's not comedy. And I was like sitting pissing myself laughing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
it is.
That's the beautiful thing about it too. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
it's so subjective.
100%.
You know, depending on like, because I will never say that like a comedian isn't funny. Do you know what I mean? Because to me, I might say I don't personally love that brand of comedy.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
But there's people out there that love it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Same way, I'm not for everybody. But as your woman said, what do you call her? Ruby Wax? Mm-hmm. Or no, what do you call your old doll that had all the plastic surgery that died there with the blonde hair? Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers.
Get 1% of the population to like you and you can fill a stadium.
Perfect.
That was Joan Rivers. But tell me this, did you ever... did you read any books growing up? Did you love like any particular brand of book or?
I remember when I was like younger, I read like books. Is it Inkheart?
Inkheart?
Yeah.
Is that like a graphic novel thing?
No, it was like for teens or something like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then obviously got into Twilight and all that shit at 16 because I was like emo and like, oh, so cool.
Yeah, Twilight. Oh, fuck.
Now I'm like, oh, they were shite books.
I know. I suppose if they get people reading, you can't look down your nose because, see, to be honest, I did read I was a Twilight at one stage, like, but the only thing was, even whenever I was reading them, I was very aware that it was like, this is the most two-dimensional fucking character in the world. Like, her only flaw was that she was clumsy. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that, like, she was beautiful and she didn't know it, you know, and it was the Mormon side really came through in it. You know, no sex before marriage. She didn't want any presents. Do you know what I mean? Didn't like to receive presents. She was very good that way. You know, you were just
like Mormon propaganda or something.
She's a Mormon, Stephanie Meyer. She's a big Mormon. So whenever you're reading it, you're very aware of all the Mormon
I didn't
connotations.
know that when I read it, but I kind of want to go back now
Really?
and be like, oh.
Although I was just like, there's no fingering. She's a Mormon. Do you know what I mean? Like, not even the slightest bit of Edward slipped his finger into Bella's knickers. It was nothing like that. And you know, it's essentially a book. Now that like I have the perspective to look at it and laugh, it's just a book about this shiny vampire who falls in love with a girl and he can't have sex with her in case he accidentally bucks her to death.
Yeah.
That's
literally
that's
it.
what it is.
That's
Do you know what I
like,
mean? I can't shag you in case I buck you to death. I'd be like, that's even more of a reason. I'm not hearing any no's here.
I consent.
Now get your shiny ass over here, Edward, and make me immortal. I know. It's fucking it's wild. Wee bit of the twat. Speaking since before Eddie went into the dirties.
Oh yeah.
We'll do the dirty word of the week.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Righty ho.
Oof.
So I've had to hyphenate this because it was too long.
Okay. Serantosexuality.
Yeah.
Or Garant.
Garantosexuality. Have you any idea?
No.
No? Right. Garantosexuality is, you ready? Mm-hmm. Feeling intense sexual attraction towards elderly people. Right? Mm-hmm.
Like geriatric?
Geriatric, yeah. Like, so being attracted to wrinkles, stooping, and frailty, etc. Right?
Okay.
And the reason that this... I loved Sean's face there. Here he was. So I was fascinated by this because I always thought to myself, what happens whenever you get older, like in terms of... Do you know the way right now, I see a wee old man and all I think is, Granda. Aww. You know, like, we love you. You're so cute. Like, I do have a Granda thing, but not in a sexual way.
Okay.
Just not in a sexuality way.
Not the sexuality part. Yeah.
Just in a way where, like, I just absolutely love wee granddads.
Yeah.
Like,
there will be doors.
Wee grannies can go fuck themselves, but wee grandas, right? I like a wee granny too, but I know I'm going to be a wee granny one day, so that scares me a bit. But the thing is, like, see, whenever you get older, do you start getting attracted to older people? Like, do you stop seeing the oldness? Like, how do they fancy each other? Do you know, how does that work? Like, do you start thinking that 60-year-olds are handsome and gorgeous and really hot? Or am I still going to fancy, like, people in their 30s and 40s? Like, what way is that going to work?
You probably, like, find someone who's 60 or whatever and then think about somebody who's 30 or 40.
Like we do now?
Yeah,
maybe. No, I'm only joking.
There was actually I saw a stand-up clip a couple of weeks ago of a comic saying something like that. And it's like, he says, you know, I sort of feel for pedophiles because it's like he says, we sort of just landed with that. He says, we're all just very lucky that, you know, that we didn't end up like that. And he says, because when I was 9, I was attracted to the other 9-year-olds. Think of everything we had in common, like me and my 9-year-old self. We were into 9-year-old people.
Oh my
God. We
God.
liked ace lollies. and we watched football. I was like, I still like ace lollies, still watch football. I'm not into 9-year-olds.
Yeah. Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
So just luckily we happened to change.
Yeah, we did.
We grew up and matured.
Yeah.
How do you start being attracted to older people?
Older people, like, you must... I read, so whenever I was thinking about this, I looked into it and there was a wee man that wrote back. It was fucking adorable. He wrote, as you get older, you start to see more beauty in older people. And he clearly must have had a falling out with his wife and he was trying to get back in her good books. Because he was saying, like, for example, now I'm 80 and I look at my wife's face and I think it's even more beautiful. Because there's a story there and there's art and you can look at the history in somebody's face. And I'm like, I don't want to see the history in their face. You know what I mean? I just want to see the present in their boxers.
That's the issue too. Like, as men get older, you know, they've got issues in that department.
But you do see wee old couples and they be doting over each other. Like.
Yeah, and I mentioned this before but couldn't think of the term that was used for it. And it's called extraordinary lovers. So if you are in your above the age of 65 and you still have an active sex life with your partner, you're termed scientifically as an extraordinary lover.
That's what
I want to be. Like, I want to still be like Just Jason's away on out there now. You know, Granny Granda don't take any visitors on a Saturday night. Do you know
Do
what I
not
mean?
come in the basement.
Yeah. But Granny, have loads of chocolate sauce there. I'm not making Sundays. That's for Sundays. Okay. Me and your Granda have a party.
A carousal.
A carousal! That's for the arousal during the carousal.
I'm so caroused right now.
Yes, I love it. You know, like, am I going to get to a stage where instead of like seeing a handsome fella walking down the street and going, he's alright, I'm going to see like a wee stooped older man, and I'm going to go,
Fancy a ride.
Jesus, look to hide his walking stick. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah.
That'll keep
Do
you
know
sturdy.
Do you know Jerry goes to mass twice a week? He's in the good books with a big man. I'll get on his good side. Do you know what I mean? Like, 100%. Is that where I'm headed? Like, I need to know. Like, is there... But then, actually, never mind that. I just remembered watching this documentary about prostitutes or sex workers who are older.
Right.
Like old age.
Yeah.
And there was this woman on it, and she was like she was like in her 80s or 90s, but she was, like, I've met 80-year-olds who look amazing, and you wouldn't think they were 80, but she did. She looked old. Or as I like to say, old as fuck, right? And she was talking about how she gets all these gentlemen visitors, you know, and she was like, oh, I get like 70 or 80 pounds, you know, and she was getting all these young guys
right.
who were absolutely fucking turned on.
They were
garantosexuals.
Yeah, there you go.
They were garantosexuals, or just warped as fuck. Like, I'm only joking. That's shaming the garantos, but they were obviously in love with her, and they absolutely availed of her services. And she was sitting actually showing in, and she showed you all these they were like, why do you still have a bath whenever, you know, would a wee shower that's adapted not be better for you? And she went, oh no, I have the rails up there. That's for whenever some young gentlemen come in and they like to lie down, and I use me rails and I give them the old golden flow. So she keeps her wee adjusted bath so that she can piss on these fellas.
Showers, yeah.
Like, they absolutely love it. You know, it reminds me of that thing in Little Britain, you know, where there was the character that David Williams played, where he absolutely, like, loved the granny. He used to, like, kidnap her and all. Well, not kidnap her, but, you know, like, take her away. He was a garantosexual. Would you maybe say garantophile for people who are, it's an abnormal fad? You know, the way like garantosexual might be. It says here, by the way, I might add, with much clinical research, it's considered genuine and harmless when involving consenting adults.
See, consent is the big thing with any kink thing.
Yeah,
like.
but if it's not, would you call them a garantophile then? Because they're like,
if it's not consensual, yeah.
If it's not,
if they're like chasing vulnerable,
like vulnerable
older
women.
people.
Older people. Yeah, they're definitely
grantophiles.
Like. They're Felix. Felix as fuck. Felix Felicius. I need to stop thinking about Harry Potter terms. But yeah, I hope when I am an old woman that I encounter a garantosexual or two.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Be an extraordinary lover.
I'll be an extraordinary.
That's
I am an extraordinary lover.
That's a Jamiroquai song, like.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I don't know.
It sounds like
but
it.
it definitely should be.
Future, old as fucking hell, but still at it and always. Anyways, yes. So I'm hoping that.
I think that's like the dream, like to still be desired when you're 80.
To
by
still
somebody
be
who's
desirable.
Like 30 or 40, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they were talking about the old man, like who still looked at his wife like beautiful. Like, fair enough if you've been with them and seen them growing up, but like when you're 80 and you're single or something, like, are you gonna look at 80-year-olds and be like, oh, it's disappointing, you know?
You ever see like when you're in like a wee nursing home or something, and like a wee grand is like this, the way they sort of get away with
Murder.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. You still lifting a bit of skirt. Like, see, there were so many things that were acceptable in the 70s. Like, do you know the way people would have said, this is what Curtis was talking to me about. Nowadays it would have been like, the old pervy uncle. But back then it was like, oh, he went to me. You know the way there was always a lot, people would have said they had an uncle with wandering hand syndrome. And I was like, no. I can honestly say that has never happened, but thankfully. And he was like, yeah, I've heard people saying, oh, the old uncle with wandering hands. And I was like, no, you just did. No, that was called paedophilia, Curtis.
There's a
Like,
name
he
for
didn't.
that.
No, don't get me wrong, he wasn't condoning this.
Oh,
He was saying, like, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, nah, you shouldn't be. But I can't wait till I'm a wee old woman, I'm going to get away with murder.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I always think of that poem, you know, the one that's, when I am old, I will wear purple. And I will hit people with my walking stick. Like, I'm going to be one of those wee women. I'm going to make sure that I look adorable.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I'm going to have wee white curls and all. I'm going to wear wee yarn cardigans.
Yeah, wee purple rinsing.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, wee purple. That's very on vogue right now.
100%.
So, but I'm going to have, I'm going to be, you know, and I'm going to come off as all unassuming and innocent. And then whenever people sit down next to me, I'm going to go, Jesus Christ, love, Lord, the head of your daddies. You know, like, I just want to say, like, really outrageous things.
I remember when my daddies were that high.
I know.
Now they're doing my belly.
See, when you have to lift your skirt to show them, it's a different story then.
That will
Or
be
we
me.
going just say the rudest things when you walk in the room and go,
yeah.
okay, your hair's awful greasy.
Yeah.
Would you not think about giving it a wee wash?
Yeah, just go, Jesus Christ, are you dodging the soap or what? You're a soap dodging bastard. I can smell you before you even come into the room here.
Literally got away with
shoes are a
murder.
bit bit up, you know.
What is that?
Your shoes are a wee bit bit up.
Like,
Yeah.
not even like the horrible insults, just the real, you know, wee sly ones that are like cutting, you know what I mean? Is that the only thing you could find to put on you this morning? That's a terrible bally looking cardigan, isn't it?
Oh, those jeans have loads of holes in them. You need to get rid of them.
Oh,
You're like,
here,
that's the style.
That's the style. And
That's the style.
do you know what my granda would have said though? Back whenever we were wearing the ripped jeans and all, I used to go, you see, whenever I was growing up, anybody that wore ripped jeans, it meant that they fucking worked hard. You go, now you see all these wee fellas running about and never, the fucking soft hands. Do you know what I mean? Never done a day's a hand's turn in their life and they're walking about, you fucking bought them ripped because you couldn't get a job. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm inclined to agree with them now.
Yeah.
And go away and fucking, I'm getting old. Like, I genuinely am getting to that point where I'm like, back in my day. I say this every week, don't I? That's where it's like that, bringing in the antiquated words and stuff like that. But yeah, back in my day, this was nothing but trees. That's just, I can't, like, jump forward 20 years and I'll be in my fucking element. So, well, actually, I'll be 66 in 20 years. So I'll
In
start
20 years.
56. Not a
Oh my
mathematician.
I was going to say, you're not in your fucking 40s.
No,
like,
or in 20 years, in 30 years, I'll be 66.
You can retire then, that'd be nice.
Yeah, well, can you really retire if you don't have a job?
How do you retire from comedy?
Yeah, retiring, I'm hanging up my microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you and good night. Yep.
And I come back to her like a year later, like, I've ran out of money.
Yeah.
Please help.
Can somebody book me for a wee gig? Anywhere that pays good, anywhere that does good. How long have you been at the comedy now?
About a year and a half or so. Yeah. Yeah, March last year. Yeah.
And you're enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm loving it. Like,
Have you ever had a really bad heckler?
do you know what? I haven't. And I'm going to say that now. I probably will end up getting one now, but I have never really had anybody heckle me.
Have you ever been present for anybody getting a really bad heckler?
Yeah, there was once at the PAV, just one old drunk lady was like heckled everybody but me. I think it's because I was the first female on that night. So she was quiet, which was good for me.
Yeah.
But then who was it went on? I think it was Kieran Franco went on after and just ripped into her like, and she was
Get away.
I can't even remember what she did, but she was just so loud and like
No way.
so shy. And then
Probably
she ended up
one of
leaving
my
in the
aunts.
end.
Only joking.
Actually, it was you, Bronagh. No,
It was me.
No, I think like she ended up getting kicked out or whatever, and it was just like, what the fuck was happening there? Like,
Yeah, you always get
Yeah.
the one person who's like blocked and think they're really funny. Funnily enough, I was talking about this the other day and about how we were doing a gig in Bangor before. Me, Paddy, McDonald, and Cormac McDermott. And what happened was Cormac was MCing, and he stood up on the stage, and he was just getting everybody riled up and having a laugh and whatever. And he went, right, I want everybody to scream, and I want everybody to scream like there's just been a terrorist attack. As you know, Cormac McDermott, bit of a controversial figure, but he said it, whatever, and everybody was just like laughing and going along with it. And this man, by the way, did I mention this was in Bangor? He stood up and he was just minding his own business. 1 minute having a pint at the bar, and then clearly he was triggered, right? So he stood up and he was going, how dare you say that? Have you ever engaged in battle? Have you ever engaged in battle? Have you been to war, son? Have you been to war? And Cormac just kind of blanched because he wasn't expecting it. But it was like he was deadly serious. At first I thought it was a bit of a joke. I thought, oh, this is a bit of a skit, is it? Like, and Cormac just went, mate, calm down, it's a joke. And he was like, this is not funny. This is not I don't know why it was Ian Paisley, but he sounded like him.
Must have been.
And I just laughed because I was like, this is fucking hilarious. It's ridiculous. So then it was like you could have cut the tension in the room with a fucking big machete. So I get up and went, mate, he's only after telling you that all the acts tonight are from Belfast. Of course we've fucking seen a war zone. You hater. You need to talk to Frank. Do you know what I mean? Like we all just laughed and then he left and probably. Aww. Yeah, but it was just, it's sometimes it's shitty. For anybody out there that's ever thinking of hosting a comedy gig, please signpost it as a comedy gig. Yeah. See those gigs where you walk in and everybody's about to sit down and eat their dinner. And you're like, I'm just going to stand in the corner and tell some inappropriate stories here. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have it signposted as a comedy gig, all chaos can ensue.
Because nobody's expecting comedy. They don't want it.
One time whenever I did that gig, I went in and there was a wake there. Like, there were these people that were just after burying, like, their brother.
Oh, my God.
And then we were all in, to sit and have a drink. And I just ended up going, listen, I know that you are just after burying somebody that you really, really loved, but... and it ended up being one of those wee moments where it was like I gave a sermon. It was like, if this comedy thing doesn't work out, I might become a humanist practitioner. Like, I could fucking do that. I was like, what they would have really loved, because I was like, if I was being completely honest, it would have been, I need to get paid, so this has to happen. Right? But 100%. Instead, it was, but I truly meant this. I went, listen, see, if I was being buried and all my family came back to a pub and it turned out there was a comedy gig on, well, it goes without saying that would be fucking brilliant because I am a comedian, but I would love it. I was like, because what do you do whenever somebody dies? You celebrate their life.
100%.
Celebrate the life. Yup, yup. And I was like, right, so now we're going to continue on with the comedy. Here's something that's absolutely nothing to do with your dead relative. Let's joke about the RUC. Do you know what I mean? He was in the RUC, Have you ever been to war? Have you ever been to war? But yes, it was just... So yeah, I've been to had some mad gigs. Yeah. That's what's absolutely fucking fantastic about comedy. There is
100%.
Never a dull moment.
I keep joking that my mum's a minister. I don't know if you know that, right? I know.
This is brilliant.
So I'm a minister's daughter.
You are a minister. I'm the one that could ever teach me. Was the daughter of a preacher woman. See, that's a me. Millennial. That's a new one.
Yeah. So I keep having a joke of I might just go get ordained and then just become my mother on stage, but just bring people up for a laugh who are engaged, but perform a ceremony, and they'll be like, I don't actually know if I'm married or not. What the fuck? And I'll be like, see you later.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't even need to be ordained. I've already became my mother on stage because half the time I just adapt her persona. But imagine you. How does your ma feel? about you being a comedian? And
She likes it. She hasn't really come to my shows at the minute, but whenever I started, she was going through chemo and stuff, so like it was a good distraction for her. 'Cause she could, because there was one I did on like a Zoom gig. Fucking hate Zoom gigs, but like I did one on it so she could watch it from home.
Oh, that's
and she
awesome.
loved it. Yeah. But she hasn't been out to my latest set, which I think is a good thing because
do you ever edit yourself when you know your man's watching?
I would now. Because my set at the minute is all about how I'm dating a Satanist.
Right, okay.
She doesn't know that.
Are you actually dating a Satanist?
Yeah.
How did, right. Back up a minute here.
Yeah.
Satanism. What does it involve?
So, believe it or not, they actually don't believe in Satan.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's just not a thing.
Yeah, because if you're going to believe in Satan, you may as well believe in God.
Exactly.
'Cause
Yeah.
one or
So
the other.
it's more like about believing in yourself and stuff. Now, I'm not a Satanist.
What, like
Don't
saying,
worry.
I am Satan.
Yeah, like you're like heal yourself kind of thing. But it's pretty much just don't be a dick.
I believe Hitler
and-
started out that way. He was all, hail me. Hail Hitler. Right, so
Yeah,
is it...
It's a bad sign.
It's kind of the idea as well, isn't it, that you're like celebrating, you know, just being like
There-
indulging. Is it like
Yeah.
indulgence and hedonism or
No, it's kind of more. It's like they're just like angry atheists, really.
right?
But they just use the name Satanist.
Because they're like, we'll use somebody from your Bible to really fucking piss you
Yeah,
off.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you lie with the whole religion thing then, since your mum's a minister?
Yeah, I would say I'm kind of like atheist at the minute.
Right.
Or, I don't know, kind of like believe in karma sort of stuff, but I don't believe that there is like a God.
Atheist Buddhist?
Yeah,
Perhaps.
something like that. Something in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's something.
I don't know.
There's something happening. Did you ever hear about the atheist animal lover? And he was dyslexic, so he lay awake all night wondering if there really was a dog. Should I say agnostic? But yeah, I do believe in God.
Okay,
I
fair.
do.
Yeah.
Which anybody who's watched this show or listened before will know anyway. I'm spiritual, I'm not religious.
Yeah, I think
just-
I don't like religion. I don't like how it's like all tear based and stuff, and
Yeah.
like it's like
As in
you're
the
wrong.
tears of young children.
Oh fuck, and then yeah.
I don't like the whole notion of like, you know, the dogma, like the rules and regulations, you know, to do this, you must get this, and you
No, I
must
think
be
you just
the-
need to be a good person.
do not
like,
pass go, do
Yeah.
not collect a communion wafer. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just, I think being raised Catholic can definitely turn you away, you know, or in any kind of religion. I'm not against Catholic religion either, obviously, but I just think that there's so much, they should let fucking priests marry. If you're not going to let a woman be a priest, at least let priests marry.
One good thing about Protestants, we allow women.
Yeah, you do. You
Yeah.
do allow the old
That's the
women.
only good
Did you
thing.
have to go to mass or chapel?
Church. Yeah,
church.
just church. I was to go to church until I was like 18. And
Did
then,
you?
Uh-huh.
I'm a woman, mother.
Yeah.
I'm not going anymore.
So, but like, picture me at 16, right? I was a full blown emo, like in church in my giant, my Chemical Romance hoodie. I remember one of the old men came up to me, "Are you what they call a Gothic?" And I was like,
Oh my
"No,
God.
I'm an emo." And I walked away. He was like, "I don't know what that means."
I'm very emotional about this right now. I'll have
went
to go
home
and have a cry.
cried. Yeah.
Yes, I'm
sad.
an emo kid.
Yeah, non-conforming as can be.
Oh yeah. Do you remember that? I can't get my hair to do that flippy thing like the guy in my favourite band. Yeah, the emos. I did a night for my birthday. I didn't realise until recently that I am a goth. Right.
Okay.
Emo goth. I didn't realise this. I never classified myself as anything growing up because I was musically abused. My ma absolutely loves her music, so I
Right.
listened to everything.
Everything,
Like
yeah.
I was the kid that was out in the street listening to hard trance and then putting on a wee bit of Leonard Cohen just to spice things up a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to hear a remix of Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" with a hard bass. Do you know what I mean? But I was. My mate always goes, "You're a fucking goth. You're a fucking goth." You know, I don't wear colour. And I was standing doing my dishes one night and Curtis came in and he was doing something and he said, "Let me put this on." And I went, he actually repeated verbatim what I said to him. I went, "I'm starting to think I'm an emo." And he went, "Or a goth." And he went, "You are?" And I went, "What do you mean?" And he went, "Well, you told me the other night not to put the song on that I wanted to hear because my music is too happy."
Yeah.
Right?
That's it, you're an
I was
emo
like,
girl.
I like to listen to
100%.
music that makes me feel things, sad things, right? You know. And then I was listening to my Nick Cave doing my dishes, and I was like, I had the voice note, my mate. I was like, I'm listening to Nick Cave. I only wear black. I was like Bella in Twilight. You don't need anything.
I know what you want.
You're goth. That's what it was. Say it. I want to hear you say it. Goth.
And then everything just goes black.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
that.
But I was a goth smecker. Like, you know,
okay.
a goth spade. It was like, I would only wear black tracksuits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Black nail polish.
Aye.
Yeah. Spray paint my name on black.
Black
you know,
on black,
yeah, black
100%.
on black. Fucking right. Loved it.
I know I'm like very colourful these days. And it's,
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like an happier emo, I guess.
Are you crying happy tears now?
Depends on the day.
Yeah, it just depends on how you're feeling.
Well,
That actually took a weird and wonderful turn.
Didn't it?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to. We'll delve in another time about. You know what to do? I should do this from now on with the guests. Go to your therapist, ask for your notes, hand them over.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you so much for coming on,
problem.
Rachel.
Thank you for having
I really appreciate it.
I've learned so much.